Hey Dave, let's shoot a video.
Something's wrong with my hands. Something's wrong with my hands. On the West Coast Avengers. Ah! West Coast Avengers.
West Coast Avengers. West Coast Avengers.
Honk, honk, beep, beep. Watch out for the grandma. Welcome back to the West Coast Avengers. I'm Dave, your host, comic book collector, comic book seller, and comic book enthusiast, and overall just joyous person. Kind of like a saint, maybe like the Pope. It's part 2 of Comic Store Field Trip. Yay! With me, Dave, and in spirit is other Dave. So last time we talked, we were just getting started on our Monday, and that one was a lot of fun. We started the morning off in Grants Pass at Iguana Comics. Carl at Iguana Comics gave us a recommendation to go check out a Heroes Haven in Roseburg.
Before they started doing these painted figures, was it just the old version or the more? This did bring back painted figures back to the DVD player, which is a really cool thing because that was pretty well gone for about 10 years. Maybe a little longer than that, but
which is interesting, yeah, because I that's one of the things I love about
right. And that's what it was. That's what I thought was going to drive those was the fact that we primed the pump because it's all about customization and uniqueness.
That's cool. Yeah.
The DVD player does.
Whoa, I've never seen that.
The Fab Four meet the Incredible Coal Man. Oh my goodness.
I love the Fab Four. It's the Beatles.
But yeah, I don't know. They were also being really consistent. Like once a quarter or so of the new wave came in, even though there was a big difference. Right now, I have also noticed.
The owner's really nice, and sure enough, he was great. We'll call him Chris, but it's not Chris. We dug around in there for a while, got to see the lay of the land. The owner was telling me that this was Mike Allred's hometown, and back 30 years ago, he had Mike Allred do the sign for the hours for the store, and he showed that to me. I didn't find too many comics I wanted, although he did let us look through a lot of stuff. The prices were okay. I wouldn't say it was the best price store, but every store is different. But what I did find was a bunch of long sold out pins, and I do collect pins, mostly comic based ones. And this one I really had to own. This was a limited edition of 2500 Conan the Barbarian. This is the cover for 241. And that cover is by our friend Todd McFarlane. And when you see Todd, you buy Todd, right? STBT means see Todd, buy Todd. Don't forget that. That was a fun store either way. I enjoyed digging through that. We got on our way after that to Springfield, Eugene area, which is a place that I've been a couple of times. I've dug through some stores there, some antique malls, and I really enjoy digging in that area. It's a very comics heavy area. There's College Town, so that always leads to being more of this stuff. But on the way, I found somebody on Facebook Marketplace that was selling, they had like 20,000 comics. Now, this is an ad I had seen months prior, but he was trying to sell it as a whole, and this time it was $1 a comic. So I messaged him, and we met up at his house. Very nice gentleman named Danny. And he had said only 2 other people had been through there to dig through, and I was like, all right, those odds are good to me. That many comics, only 2 people have seen them. Even if they've pulled the major keys and all that stuff, there's going to be so much that I find. And boy, was I wrong.
So we found this guy on Facebook, and I'd seen him post this collection a while ago, and it's like 20,000 books. It's thousands and thousands. Everything's $1, but we're going to dig a little bit and see what we can find.
Me and Dave dug through for about an hour. I realized about 15 minutes in that I was looking at former quarter bin stuff from a comic store. And he had bought a storage locker. He had already broken even and started to make money on it, so he didn't care about what was in there because he doesn't know comics. But I shit you not. Every Superman book was in there from the 1990s. Every Valiant book was in there from the 1990s. Every non-Spawn Image book was in there from the 1990s, and every Ultraverse and Malibu book was in there from the 90s. I found a stack of Turok #1s. That's how bad it was. And I didn't buy those because I will not. I did find one book that I was really stoked about. I want to mention my friend Alex Pardee, Dave's friend Alex Pardee. This is part of his Bunny With series. This is my book of 1,000 bunnies. And this is something that Alex had put out. This is one of his creations where it's just like a bunny with this, a bunny with that. There's instead of a 12 monkeys ad on the back, there's a 1,000 bunnies ad. It's funny too because as I looked through this and with Dave and he was pointing some stuff out, we realized that there's one of Dave's pieces of art is in here, right here. Bunny with chest bursting alien. As well, another friend of the channel, there's a Alex Pardee and John Wayshak bunny with painting. There's some great art in here, and I don't own this book, which I try to pick up anything of Alex's I see because I don't own a lot of his older comics. So after we left Danny's house, we went to the Albany Antique Mall. When we got to Albany Antique Mall, we went upstairs to the comic book section. There's 2 dealers that have comics there. One has been picked through and never really replenished, and the other one seems to replenish somewhat often.
Classics Illustrated. Frankenstein. Remember I found the Bernie Wrightson in here? The Thing vs. Hulk, yeah.
Which one's the push start that has the Danzig logo on it? That's a cool Bob Larkin.
The Kiss one?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's so sick. Is that Ming or something?
It looks like that.
Merciless?
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot less comics now.
Yeah, we're looking like a few.
It's a Creech. Greg Capula's bringing them back. See, he created them. Starbrand? Did you want some more?
Must have all the Star.
Got an Avengers number 240. Not a key by any means.
But what
But-
about this is special?
Well, since I'm the truffle pig of comic books, I smelled something.
Oh, Mark Jula variant.
You see, Mark. You buy, Mark. There's another one. $4.
Let me see what you're seeing.
It's always good to double check your books, but you know, it's got the barcode, so I know it's a newsstand. All Mark Jewelers are newsstands, but not all newsstands are Mark Jewelers.
I found 2 Avenger issues, 241 and 240, both Mark Jeweler variants. I gotta buy them. It's just in me to buy these books. But the funny thing about the Albany Antique Mall, when we went there 2 years ago on our first Davengers trip, one of the books that I was trying to find just to kind of regain that piece from my collection that I got rid of as a kid was the Todd McFarlane poster book from Marvel. And sure enough, at the Albany Antique Mall, there was one for $10. And as we were driving there this year, I said to Dave, it'd be really funny if there was another McFarlane poster book. I'll buy it if there was.
Oh. I'll take it. I'll take it for $10. 100%. I'll buy another one.
There it was. The guy must have a stack of them, and every time he sells one, he just puts another one out. Well, lucky for him, I'm going to buy one every time I see one. Because when you see Todd, that's right, you buy Todd. This poster book is one of the greatest pieces of 90s anything that they ever put out as, you know, a gimmick for Marvel. This gives you all of McFarlane's cover art, some of his interior art, but without any of the trade dress, any of the logos, any of that. It's just the art. And I have to read these now. That means I'm probably going to have to plaster my walls in this room with an entire issue of this. But thanks to the Albany Antique Mall, I got another one. So from Albany, we made it was like a 70-mile drive up to Portland for the evening where we were going to stay. Portland, great city. Here's the thing about Portland. I lived there for 9 months when I worked for this organization called the CBLDF. It is a very comics-rich city for so many reasons. First off, the history of comics and independent comics, there's a huge history of that there. Dark Horse was founded there. Currently, Oni, Image, all have offices or are based out of Portland. Some of the biggest writers in the game live there. Brian Michael Bendis lives there. Matt Fraction lives there. Kelly Sue DeConnick lives there. There's a bunch of others that I don't know offhand. I think all of those factors really keep the comic economy boosted there. There's plenty of stores there. Excalibur is one of the biggest. Cosmic Monkey. You got Floating World, one of the foremost independent comic selling stores. They sell a ton of self-published stuff there. It's a treat to always dig through there and just pick out some stuff that looks cool and buy it. It's just a quirky, fun city that is really nerdy and really rich in comics. I took Dave to the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry to see the Marvel exhibit. He was floored by it, and it was just like fun to hear him talk about artwork from an artist's perspective, and I kind of point things out that I would never notice. And so then we went to a couple of stores. First off was Future Dreams, which is on Burnside, and that's a store that you literally just have to spend time digging through. The owner's really nice. He doesn't know where everything is, but if he does and you ask him for something, he'll get it for you. It was kind of funny. I asked him about Akira issues, and he's like, I think I only have one. And then like 10 minutes later, I found this issue 16, which I'm not even sure I need, but even if I don't, it's going to be an upgrade in condition on my copy. I was looking for one of these. As you will see in a future video, me and Dave sat down and kind of did a dissection of this. This is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the Marvel adaptation with some of the most amazing art by Bernie Wrightson. And some of the most amazing art, period, ever to be put in a book. This is the first printing. I got it for $85. It's about a $100 book, but it was something I've been looking for a while, and I finally got a copy. And stay tuned. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to see the video of me and Dave sitting down with this book and talking about it. That was Future Dreams. We only went to one other store in Portland just because we spent a lot of time at the Science Museum. That was a store that I was hesitant to go to for a while, called Fallout Comics. I know they had an older location. I think they just moved to a newer location, which still feels like a Fallout shelter. I've never been here, so let's take a look. And sure enough, this place was wild. You go in there, and as you'll see in the footage, there's just shit everywhere. Yeah, those are like Blood Feud, right?
It's all number 38. This whole box is number 38. Isn't that crazy?
It is kind of
It's
crazy.
like every number 38 ever made.
Now, he had just moved in, but he was like telling us, oh, these are $2 books, these are $3 books, and these are $5 books. I charmed my way into being able to look at some stuff that he didn't want us to originally look at, some new stuff he just got in. And as I was looking at that, I found like a nice little thick stack of Bernie Wrightson House of Mystery and House of Secrets books. I plucked out this one. I have it, but this one was a condition upgrade. House of Mystery 195. One of the more classic books that he was involved in, an absolute iconic cover. I believe Neil Adams has some work in here too. And there's some proto Swamp Thing stuff in here, I believe. While digging through the $2 stuff, I found this coverless comic, and I'm like, man, something about this feels like it's better than it should be. And John Buscema and Stan Lee, and then I looked down a little bit below, and I realized what I'm holding is a coverless copy of the iconic Silver Surfer #4 Thor cover. It's one of the greatest covers of all time. I had never read this book, and I'm stoked. I get to read this original copy. Well, the kicker was this. As I was looking through one box, Dave was over there looking through another box, and I see him, and I kind of see at the corner of my eye, he's like getting my attention. He's like, Dave, you need this, don't you? I nearly lost my shit because what he was holding up was this. A set of the original Crow books from Caliber Press. And I like quickly ran over there, and he handed me these 4 books, and little did I know he was still holding 2 more sets of this. And I was like, oh my God. And the guy comes over, he's like, oh yeah, I just got those in. I don't really know, I didn't really look at them. Are they good? Yeah. So we spent a little bit of time while he sat at his desk and pulled up on the computer, eBay comps and all that stuff. I don't know, maybe it was the excitement that I showed in the fact that I was able to buy these or might be able to buy these, but he gave me a super fucking good deal on these. $175 for all 4 books. And yes, this is a first print. The crazy thing about this was just a day earlier, I was talking to Dave about how this book right here, Crow #1, was my top, I guess, copper modern grail to get. I have a Caliber Presents 1. I got the Albedo 2 last year. Got a Turtles 1 3rd print. But this book was on the top of my list. One of my favorite characters of all time. I grew up watching the movie, and I met James O'Barr a couple times when I was a kid. So this character, this book has been in my atmosphere for a long time, and I'm so stoked to have it. Along with that, I bought the Caliber Christmas #1. It was an experience going to Fallout Comics, and I think it was all in all a positive one. Guy's generally nice. So that was our last store in Portland. We headed over across the Columbia River to I Like Comics in Vancouver, Washington. I only bought 1 new comic there, but I was there a couple weeks ago, and I spent like $200 or $300. The owner, Chris, really nice guy. That store is a one of a kind. He's got some of the biggest books you'll find in a store, period. He definitely has one of the most well-known stores in the Pacific Northwest. Multiple AF-15s there, multiple Hulk 181s, you name it, they've got it. They've got a copy of that book. Great store just to dig around. So I implore you, when you are in the Portland area, go check out I Like Comics. If you're not going to buy anything, just to see the selection they have, but you will probably buy something. And so after that, we headed up to Tacoma that night, and that was the end of the road trip portion of it. But I took Dave around to some of my local stores. This trip was fantastic. I didn't buy nearly as much quantity as I usually do because I think I'm being a little more strict on the things that I buy, but I think this was a quality one. If you're thinking about doing this, I can't emphasize enough how much fun something like this is. Even if you don't have an open schedule and you have to do maybe like a 2-day road trip. 2-day road trip might actually be a little bit easier. Confines you to a smaller area but more stores. Do your research, make sure your stores are open on the days you want to go. It's under the guise of supporting your local comic stores in general. That'll do it for this week. Don't forget, every Wednesday I am live.
West Coast Wednesday.
Every Sunday I'm live. Sunday, sit down. Like, follow, subscribe. Check out my links below, and I'll see you on the flip side of the funny pages. Keep digging on the Where's that motherfucking bird?